Good morning, everybody. This is my final video in the series of kind of overcoming and healing from hip replacement. And I wanted to close up this series with a little bit of discussion about self-care. Self-care is so important to me. And years ago, before what I call my great wake up, I thought self-care was for the privileged and the elite. And I had no concept that taking care of me is actually the greatest thing I can do because then I'm able to take care of other people. So my self-care practice prior to hip replacement included a lot of walking, a lot of movement, a lot of working out, a lot of activity. And every day I spent time in a bubble bath at least once a day. I have a glorious bathtub and I would make bath bombs. And it was really a daily ritual for me, especially the end of the day. I can't get in a bathtub. Okay, so that's off the table. I'm really not making bath bombs, even though my daughter enjoys bubble baths. She doesn't really care about bath bombs, but I've had to shift kind of the things that I love. I'm not able to walk super far. I'm able to venture out a little bit each day. Every day gets a little bit longer, but it's definitely not something that I look forward to quite yet. It's more for PT. It's more to get moving. So I've had to really adjust my self-care practices. I'm not used to being home. I typically work in the community a lot. And so I started about week two, once I got home and kind of acclimated to my mobility and movement. And I'm still doing my 6 directions of the spine, which I think is so important for every day. I'm doing some activity every day in the form of movement, gentle yoga. I did a workout today for my shoulders and biceps. And so every day I'm doing something, and that produces that endorphin in our brain, that accomplishment feel good that we really need. Whether you're brand new to working out and movement, it's something that you'll find your body craves after a really short time. So movement is still part of my life. It's just very different. I'm not on the treadmill. I'm not walking long distances. I'm definitely not doing heavy weights. I'm not doing lunges. I'm not doing anything like that. So that has shifted. Another thing that has shifted being home is I had to find ways to take care of myself that weren't walking and weren't soaking in the bathtub. So I found that relying on my essential oils really kind of at this time really sparked something in me. I got my books back out and I started to really kind of look at some of that emotional stuff. I will be very honest in saying the last few days have been really hard for me. I'm week 4 of my hip replacement and I'm just feeling so much pain, so much discouragement that I'm finding myself kind of slipping into not feeling great emotionally. So I'm relying on my essential oils, and this is my kind of my go-to blend. That I love the smell of it. I love what it does for me emotionally. It's something that I kind of like my signature blend. People kind of recognize that smell in me. It's patchouli, wild orange, tangerine, Roman chamomile, and lavender. And it's calming, it's soothing, it's grounding, and it's just something that I love. So I'm using this a lot. I use it every day, and then I'm relying on some other oils just throughout my day. I have some oils that are going on my scar. I'm not super like, I don't care about my scar. It is what it is, but I do want it to heal well. So I'm putting frankincense and helichrysum on my scar every day. And that feels really good. I'm diffusing oils during the day that are uplifting, happy, just to kind of help my brain take in those chemicals that respond to aroma. And we don't take in a chemical, but our brain produces the chemical when we smell something. And so that has been a tool that I'm using. And each day I have a ritual of filling my diffuser and choosing something based on how I feel that day. And then in the evening, I shift gears and I fill my diffuser for something that's calming and grounding because sleep has been incredibly hard. So I kind of set my body up for that using oils very deliberately. So that's something that's been important to me. I've also been a sourdough baker like crazy. It's not hard. it's not as hard as what people make it to be, but this is my beautiful little starter. She's happy and ready to be turned into something good. So I've been playing with that. It doesn't take long. I can stand in the kitchen for 20 minutes and make something amazing. I've made waffles and banana bread and English muffins, and of course, just a traditional sourdough loaf. And that feels really good. Like it's a self-care, it's soulful, it's nurturing, and I love that. I also made another batch of body butter. That's something that I'm putting directly on my scar as well. It's shea butter, grapeseed oil, and then some really good skin oils. So making sure that I have those things that I love to take care of my body with. I've got crystals, of course. This beautiful amethyst. This one sits by my table that I spend the most time at, and occasionally I'll just hold it. Um, I just love it. I think it's beautiful. It's just something to look at, brings me back into the present moment. It's really easy when we're in pain, constant pain, not great sleep, to feel hopeless and to feel like this is never going to end and this is never going to get better, but it is going to get better. And so pulling ourselves into the present moment, we can realize like, wow, 3 weeks ago, I needed help lifting my leg. 3 weeks ago, I wasn't able to, shower independently. 2 weeks ago, I was only walking around the block once. Now I'm walking around the block twice. So it's really, really important to stay in the present and what is. And I find looking at something beautiful like this pulls me right back into the present moment. I'm also doing some daily reading of something. I read every day, something inspirational, but I'm really focusing on this particular book, which is called Living a Life of Awareness. And it's just a small little exercise, a little snippet, super short, maybe 2 paragraphs, and then an activity. And this has been self-care for my soul, self-care for my mind. And I really enjoyed that. I've also been kind of tinkering with my house plants. It's fun to nurture something other than myself. We can get very self-absorbed when we're dealing with something hard and it's all about us. But taking care of other things, my animals, my people in my life, my house plants has been really, really good. And then the last thing that I have done that has been really looking at self care is I spend every day, I do a jigsaw puzzle on my iPad. I also do some journaling on my iPad and I use a digital planner. And that again, like present moment, what do I have in front of me today? What can I accomplish today? What is going to bring me joy today? That's taking care of myself. And for me, I am a very strong Capricorn, a very strong personality in that productivity is, there's Timber, is very important to me. So I am not one in any form, shape, ever going to be somebody that sits around and watches television during the day. It's just not my personality ever. So my self-care has been productivity. What can I get done today that I never have time for? What can I create in my business that I never have time for? So I have some really great virtual courses that I'm getting ready to launch, some self-paced stuff, some stuff to help people who are working in assisted living teach yoga to those residents and broaden their sense of mindfulness. I'm working a lot on things that I really feel passionate about, but I really don't ever have time for. The book that I've been writing is coming along. It's done. It's just in edit form. So I'm doing things that I feel good. And at the end of the day, I sit with my journal, I sit with my iPad, my digital planner, and I can check off things that I did for myself. For me, being productive is one of the greatest things I can do to take care of myself. Nurturing my plants, making bread, smelling oils, creating body butter or something that's going to make my body feel great, reading a book that gives me an exercise to focus on for the day. That is my self-care. Not taking long walks, not going for hikes. I'm not riding my bike. I'm not taking long bubble baths. Instead, I've shifted gears or I've turned the dial a little bit. And in this process, I'm remembering that everything is temporary. The temporariness of riding my bike long distances and walking 25,000 steps a day, that was temporary. And now I'm in a different season and a different turn of the dial. I'm on a different setting, and that is okay. And we can't let our self-care go just because it looks different. We have to find new ways to take care of ourselves so that our cup is continually filling, so that we have enough to give to others, but we also are taking radical care of ourselves in this process of healing. It's so important. And the final thing that I have been really, really attentive to is not focusing on the pain 24/7. The pain is there. The pain is very much there. My mind could get on the train of disappointment, discouragement, fear. Is it always going to hurt? Is it never going to heal? Is my body not liking what's in there? I could get on that train and go, and I could spend my day doing that. Or I could say, yep, I have pain today. What am I going to do to take care of myself? I'm going to create something in the kitchen. I'm going to sit with some aromatherapy. I'm going to create something that makes my body feel great. I'm going to give my mind something to chew on, something to ponder. I'm going to spend time in my heart thinking about the people that I care about. I'm going to shift my attention from this hurts to the present moment of today. And sometimes that present moment is a lot of pain, but I have a laundry list of other things that bring me amazing joy. So self care can't stop while we're recovering. We have to be willing to do things different and not feel terrible that I can't. The moment we start using language of I can't, we're sunk. So instead, we shift it to I can, and what am I going to do today? And how am I going to be amazing? And how am I going to serve in the tiniest ways myself, which in essence serves others? So that's the final message of this month-long journey in recovering from hip replacement. Starting next time I pop into a video, we're going to go back into some yoga, back into doing some things like that. I've got a few things planned up my sleeve that I'm looking forward to sharing. And you can always follow along. I've got a whole bunch of links below where you can follow my blog. You can follow some of the social media stuff that I'm doing and just kind of stay in tune. And of course, subscribing always helps because you'll get the latest update when a new video does pop up. So I'll see you next time. Happy healing, whether it's a hip, a knee, an ankle, a shoulder, an illness, or you simply want some tools for your toolbox to stay present and to stay grateful and to take care of you. Thanks for watching, and pop in next time. I got some good things planning, and I'll see you super soon. Thanks for popping in, and I'll see you soon.